Okay, in this video, I'm assuming you already know how to get a stiffness and mass matrix like the ones you see here. Now we have to convert this to a format that is intuitive. We have to convert it to a format that we're familiar with. Here's that format. Let me scroll to the right a little. Here is the stiffness matrix KGG. You can see we have values along the diagonal. We have some values off the diagonal. If you go to the bottom right hand corner, you'll see that we have values at the bottom. One thing you'll notice about this matrix, it's symmetric. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about how do we go from here to here. So first of all, we recently came up with a new web app called the DMI web app. So let me show you how to use it. First, go ahead and select the punch file. And let's go ahead and write out the entire matrix. So here, let's go ahead and output matrix KGG. And then if we open matrix KGG, we'll see that the matrix is now in a format that we're really familiar with. Here is the first degree of freedom, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and so on and so on. So all of these values here were formatted into a table like this. Now let's learn how to read one of these entries. Let me go to a random row for KGG. Here, let's go to column 259. So we'll scroll to column 259, and that would be this column. I know it's column 259 because here in field 3, 3, it just says 259, and then it says go to row 25. So we'll go to row 25. So that would be here. So we're here, it says row 26. That's because in row 1 we have the header row, if you will. So we're looking at a row 25 that happens to be in row 26 in the spreadsheet. Here it says start inserting these values. Go to column 259, row 25, insert this value, and this value in the next 3 rows. So a negative 6.2, that's what we have here, and then it goes up to negative 5. So if we look back at this file, it's negative 4.99, which is effectively a negative 5. And then it says go to row 97. I keep going to the wrong window. Go to row 97 and then start adding additional values. So these next 3 values would be these values. And then it says go to row 103 and add the next 3 values. Go to 109, row 109, add the values, and go to row 157, add the next values, and so on and so on. So if we go to row 367, these 3 values are going to be the last values in the column. So let's go to row 367. So row 367, that would be here. It adds 3 additional values, and then if the row number is not mentioned here, it's assumed the other row values are 0. So we went to row 367, we added 3 values, and then after that, that's it. They're all zeros. So that's how you read the DMI matrix. Now, let me talk about a different format called the compact format. Okay, let me download a CSV file for KGG, and let me open that file. So a moment ago, I said that if the value is 0, it does not need to be mentioned here. It's assumed that any unmentioned values are 0. So I'll give you an example. Let's go here. Here we have values for column 1, column 2, column 3, and column 7. Notice that column 4, 5, and 6 are not defined here. So if we look in column 4, 5, 7, let's go there right now. 4, 5, and 7, or 4, 5, and 6, sorry. If those values are absent, like they are here, it's assumed that every value in the column is 0. So if you look at these 3 columns, 4, 5, and 6, they're all empty. Now, we have an additional format that we can show you. We have option B. Option A will give you every degree of freedom. Option B will only give you the defined degrees of freedom. So we downloaded that CSV file, and that would be this one. So let me insert these characters to help you understand what's going on here. So a bracket with 3 decimal points or 3 points. This is indication that the values were omitted from the DMI entry. The DMI entry did not define values for these columns and rows, so there it's assumed that there are 0. So this is another way of looking at the matrix, and this is using the B format. So remember that. So the A format, this would give you every column, whether it's defined or not defined. The B format will only show you what was defined in the DMI entries. So here, if we go back here, columns 4, 5, and 6 were not defined. This is the CSV file for format B. Column 4, 5, and 6 are absent. And since this is symmetric, 4, 5, and 6, or rows 4, 5, and 6 are also left out. And I'm using these brackets with the 3 dots to represent that they have been left out from the DMI entry. Okay, now let's do one other thing. Let's see what. I think in a future video, I'll describe what the difference is between matrix KGG and KAA. Let's go ahead and look at maybe a mass matrix. Let me look here. Right, let's go ahead and download the mass matrix for MGG. We'll go ahead and use the format A where we write out the full matrix. So now if I open this in my spreadsheet program, this is my mass matrix. Well, one thing is apparent here. We have mass defined for the first 3 degrees of freedom. There's no mass for the next 3 degrees of freedom. Let me see if I have this example available. Oh, so this bulk data file that we're working with, this one, that's just a very simple cube. Hexahedron elements, they really don't add stiffness or mass to the rotational degrees of freedom. So that's why you see the rotations having 0 stiffness and 0 mass. So let me go ahead and highlight those real quick. Here we have another 3 translation degrees of freedom. And then we have another 3 degrees of freedom for the rotations. And notice again that there are zeros for the mass. And you can see what the difference is. Let me download a format B. So again, format B, here I don't expect, well, yeah, I do expect a difference. Let's see if I can show you. I downloaded the wrong, here, MGG is the one I want. So here is the full matrix. Notice that we could potentially remove, we can leave out these rows and columns. Let's see if I can do this real quick. Here and here. So we could remove, or let me show you MGG actually. MGG. Let's go ahead and read one of these entries. Let's go to this entry. It says go to column 14, go to row 14, and insert this value. So row 14, or column 14, that would be here, and then row 14, 3.7 or 37. So this is that value, DMI column 14, row 14. Okay, now notice a few things. We have values for row 1, 2, and 3. Notice that row or column 4, 5, and 6 are absent. If we go to column 4, 5, and 6, those are absent. When we use the second format, B, and we look at this other mass matrix, notice what happened. We have those degrees of freedom are absent. So we have rows and columns that are absent. I'll use the brackets again to indicate that the compact format is leaving out those entries because we assume that they are 0 values. So this is done to save space. Of course, if we had a 1,000,000 degree of freedom example, we don't want to define all the zeros. So format B is a compact version of the matrix, if you will. Okay, so now one other thing. Let's go ahead and write out the load matrix. So let me go ahead and use these other statements. Let's go ahead and let's go and rerun this. So in this model, I have two load cases. Load case 1 and 2. I have, let me see if I can show you this real quick. One of the forces has a force of 1 Newton. The second force has a magnitude of 9 newtons. So when we look at the new output, at the very bottom of the punch file, we have our stiffness KAA. This is column 144, column 10, or column 144, row 10, row 37, 73, 97, and so on and so on. We have this new matrix, PA. So let's look at this matrix PA. So we'll go back to the DMI web app. We'll upload the punch file. Let's go ahead and use the format A, download that CSV file. And let's look at the the loads matrix. So here we have one column for subcase 1 or load case 1. We have a second column for load case 2. Here in row 10, we get told we're applying one force. That's a 1 Newton. And then if we go down, we'll find the second force, 9 newtons. And let me see if I think there is a difference. Let's go ahead and use the compact version of this, and we'll go ahead and download. And then now, if we look at this, we see that we could potentially omit these values. You see they're all 0. They're all 0. So the DMI entries, again, they only define the non-zero values. We use these compact versions as much as possible. Now, what I did a moment ago, I'll do it again. Let's go ahead and download the CSV file with the B format, the compact option, and let's look at what that matrix looks like. So the compact version only has the rows with non-zero values, and we get told the same information. This is load case 1, column 1, load case 2, column 2. This value is for row 10, and then row 58. So that's how you do it. That's how you take these DMI entries and you convert them to a CSV file like you saw in this video. Now, you might be asking, how do you get access to this DMI web app? There are two ways. The first way is you go to theengineeringlab.com. Here you look under new web apps. You click on this link, and then it will open this web application. Alternatively, here in the top right hand corner, you could click any free trial button, fill out the form, get access to one of the web apps, and you'll also get access to this DMI web app. Now, in this video, I only focus on DMI entry. There are other entries that store the matrix. There's the DMIG entry. The DMI entry, this will do it in terms of column and row number. The DMI entry, this will do it in terms of grid ID, and component ID, which range between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Here, it's almost the same way. There are a few differences. These are the two main differences. Today, we only looked at the DMI entry. Maybe in the future, I'll do a video on the DMI entry. Okay, so what comes after this video? You notice we had sort of a challenge here. When we look at these columns and these rows, we do not have any information about the grid ID or the degree of freedom. Is it degree of freedom 6, 4, and so on and so on. In the next video, I'm going to show you how to add that information. So here, this is matrix KGG, but if you look at the two top columns and rightmost the two top rows and the two left columns, I've inserted the grid ID and the degree of freedom. So if I look at this column and this value here, I know this value is for grid 3, component 2, which is translation along the second axis of the displacement coordinate system. And this is associated with grid ID 1 or 3, sorry, grid ID 3 and the first degree of freedom. Okay, so Again, in the next video, I'll show you how to determine these grid IDs and degree of freedoms. So with that, I'll stop here and I'll see you in the next video.